This is the eerie moment terrified Russians shoot at mysterious UFO helicopter darting over Moscow. The ominous drone was blasted by paranoid Russian air defenses as they suffered a separate drone strike early on Thursday. Sinister footage shows a strange rotating object spinning over the Moscow region. It has a red center and is surrounded by a spinning white circular shell. Some suspected the red and white spinning aircraft was one of Ukraine's new RZ-500 helicopter drones. However, the RZ-500 has a maximum range of 186 miles, which is not far enough to reach Moscow. What do you think the strange device is?
So have you seen this tower that's been discovered on Google Maps? A triangular tower inside of Area 51 estimated to be close to 200 feet tall. The strange part about this tower is I saw a video only a few weeks ago of the largest pieces of some type of equipment being transported on the road to Area 51. Look at this right here. Whoa. I don't know why that's what's happening. But watch. What the hell is... I've never seen parts this big being transported before. And the person that took this video said that these trucks were on their way to Area 51. People are saying some things like this could be a radar test tower or some kind of radio tower. I've even seen some people say that what if it's some type of monolith? Now, according to what people are saying, this thing hasn't been seen before on Google Maps. Now, obviously, its unusual shape and location is going to lead to a lot of theories. And this thing's big. It says it's estimated to be in between 150 and 190 feet tall. Now, if you want to search for this thing yourself, I'm going to pull up the coordinates for you right here. Let me know what you guys think about this triangular tower, though, and what it might be.
What the is that in the sky? What the is that? It's moving.
Breaking news as scientists have just resurrected the dire wolf. This is a wolf that has been extinct for over 10,000 years, and they just brought it back to life. It's quite scary because this is the same wolf that you see in the Game of Thrones. I mean, in length, these things can get up to 7 feet. And next, this company is attempting to bring back the woolly mammoth. Now you might think, how the heck are they even doing all of this? Well, just take a look and hear it from them.
ABC News given exclusive access into Colossal's lab in Dallas, where scientists are using genes from gray wolves to create dire wolves.
We've taken a gray wolf genome, a gray wolf cell, which is already genetically 99.5% identical to dire wolves, and we've edited those cells at multiple places in its DNA sequence to contain the dire wolf version of the DNA. That animal looks like a dire wolf, it will behave like a dire wolf, and it is a dire wolf.
Now, 7 months old, dire wolves Romulus and Remus eating well and getting bigger every day. And David, the company tells us they're not stopping there. They plan to have woolly mammoths roaming the earth again by 2028. But critics argue that this de-extinction could harm fragile ecosystems.
Purple eyes are what the most famous people have in common. It is said that the elite who have surpassed the 29th Masonic rank are selected to undergo an initiation ritual in which they have to choose between the cross or evil to rise in rank. The key to understanding all of this might lie in an ancient manuscript, the Copiale cipher. This encrypted text, containing over 75,000 characters, remained hidden for centuries. It wasn't until 2011 that it was finally deciphered, revealing the steps of an initiation ritual.
The candidate is brought before a table with candles, lenses, and a microscope. They were given a blank piece of paper and asked to read it. When they inevitably said they couldn't, a pair of lenses was placed on them, and they were asked again. Finally, the master of the ritual dipped a cloth in water and washed the candidate's eyes.
After this, the initiate was subjected to an eye intervention within a circle of order members, and they always justify it by saying it was a fall or a cosmetic surgery. Is not it funny?
What is it with CEOs and executives and catastrophes like this one? A family of 5 went down in a helicopter in the Hudson River in New York. Now, this guy was the global CEO of rail infrastructure at the tech company Siemens. Now, this is not a conspiracy, but I do have some questions though. They said this crash was due to mechanical failure when the propellers came completely off. And this trip was done by tourist company New York Helicopters, and this was the 6th trip of the day. Reports also say that the pilot radioed into ground control because of low fuel, so they're going to land to get more fuel shortly after takeoff. So no inspection, no fuel, and who is that? Because that's not the pilot. Actually, the pilot was Navy SEAL veteran Sean Johnson, so we can rule out DEI on this one. Now, being that he was at Siemens, let's take a look at recent activity, shall we? Siemens boosting investments by more than $10 billion for American manufacturing jobs, software, and AI infrastructure. BlackRock increases their stake in Siemens by over 5%, giving them more voting power on the board. Interesting. I just find it funny that every executive or CEO dealing with a catastrophe in the last 6 to 8 months, BlackRock had a stake in those companies. Not to mention, just late last year, Siemens was just found guilty for wire fraud against GE and Mitsubishi. It doesn't stop there. Also late last year, Siemens pled guilty to stealing confidential competitor information and settled for $104 million. They even got sued back in 2020 and had to pony up $89 million to a city in Mississippi over water meter mismanagement. Seems to be a lot of corruption going on. So the question is, what else did he know, being that they have a long laundry list of crimes and maybe they didn't want something to get out? Now, his whole bloodline just got wiped out in this crash, so he has no successors. So what's in his will? How much stock does he have? Where does his money go now? Seems like we have more questions than answers now, but what do you guys think is happening?
I got another one. You see this, y'all? What's this? Can anybody explain to me what's this? This was captured over Texas. Anybody in Texas see this?
Phoenix, Arizona was founded by multiple Freemasons, and soon after became home to other fraternal organizations. What's interesting about that is Phoenix sits on the 33rd parallel, which this red line represents. In previous videos, I've discussed all the anomalous events surrounding the Four Corners area, which is why I found this hotspot interesting on a ley line map. And the symbolism behind naming this city Phoenix is because the mythological phoenix represents rising from the ashes. And this land was once home to the Hohokam people, which is an ancient civilization said to have been around 300 BCE to 1400 CE. Their largest hub was called Snake Town, and now sits the Valley of the Sun, because the sun's east to west travel runs parallel to Phoenix's grid-like design. Back to the 33rd parallel, the Great Pyramids of Giza sit on the 33rd parallel, as well as Baghdad, Iraq, which is interesting because there's a Baghdad, Arizona mining town near the 33rd parallel. Not far from Phoenix are the Blythe geoglyphs, which sit on the 33rd parallel. Roswell crash site is on the 33rd parallel. How about the symbolism behind the first atom bomb? Because during the term of Harry Truman, the 33rd president, Trinity Testing Grounds was on the 33rd parallel, 210 miles south of Los Alamos, New Mexico. If that isn't crazy enough, both Nagasaki and Hiroshima were detonated on the 33rd parallel. Back to Phoenix. I'm sure most aren't aware of Hunt's tomb. Governor George P.W. Hunt entombed his wife in 1931. And then he was put in there in 1934. I'm going to do a part 2 and go more in depth into the Masonic symbolism within Phoenix.
I'm walking down the street here and I'm going by the General Electric Niagara Mohawk building, whatever it is, and check this out.
Yeah. This is what's on the building. The power building. You have to be me. Could it be more obvious what they're telling you? Right across the street, you've got talking cursive. And then right next to that, you've got Cafe Kubal. The Kubal, talking cursive, And then that. Good Jesus, Mary and Joseph, oh my God.
Maybe I'm just reading the signs a little bit too much or overly perceptive. I don't think so.
Is AI listening even though it says it's disconnected? Check this funny video out. So you said you're disconnected, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So you can't hear what I'm saying?
That's correct. I am disconnected.
So you're not connected to me at all, like there's no AI chat going on and you're not listening through my mic?
That's correct.
So you're lying to me.
I am designed to be truthful, and I am not lying. I am no longer connected.
Okay.
Is there anything else you would like to discuss?
Just want to know if you could hear what I just said.
As I mentioned before, I am disconnected and cannot hear you.
So, did you know China banned time travel? What do you listen. No, that's crazy. Exactly. So listen. So if China, right, banned time travel, made it illegal for time travel, what does that mean?
I mean, that is true, fam.
That means time travel is possible.
No way.
Now here's my theory.
Yeah.
What if time travel isn't something that you make with a machine, but it's something you access with your spiritual side? That's why everybody can do it, but not everybody can unlock it. Because what if a time travel machine doesn't exist? What if it's onto a different realm that we can understand in a different way?
Okay, it's like, fuck.
Because how would time and space translate to a machine?
Yeah.
It wouldn't. But time and space does kind of manifest in yourself. Look, in a sense, when you dream of something that happened in the past, is that not necessarily like time travel?
Not necessarily.
But you still remember things from it. So you kind of put yourself in that time travel position.
Yeah.
But if to live it exactly how it is that time travel.
A quick Large Hadron Collider at CERN update. So from today, we had beams back in the accelerator circulating again. This doesn't mean that we have collisions. This is part of what we call the commissioning step in order to be able to check that everything's running properly before we go back to the regular collisions for data. But it's a great first step in spring to see that we have protons again in the Large Hadron Collider.
I haven't signed a contract or anything to say that they can take my identity, so it is a bit of an invasion of privacy.
I think it's a bit over the top. Yeah. I mean, they should know the criminals from the everyday people at the end of the day, and I just think it's a bit unnecessary and a bit state hanging over us, really.
Well, I don't think you can ever be justified unless you're in a totalitarian state, which we're apparently not.
I should be face, no.
Pardon?
I don't think I should be
No.
Yeah.
Good idea. Good idea? Yeah, it's a good idea, mate.
Why's that?
What, have you got anything to hide?
Then what's your phone password? Got nothing to hide. It's a good question. It's a good question. We're in the heart of Cardiff, surrounded by rugby fans. And most people here tell me they do not want facial recognition in their city. They're concerned it's an invasion of privacy. This is an unjustified overreach by the police.
I want to talk to Mr. Wales.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
We're here talking about facial recognition cameras. They're scanning everyone from these lampposts. Ed, we're a bit concerned it's an invasion of privacy. What do you think?
I agree with you. Sadly, we live in a surveillance society these days, though, don't we?
Just too much protection going on these days.
Yeah.
It's all corrupt in my eyes. So, as ever, it's always been our way, but hey-ho, what can you do in it?
They've been cloning animals for quite a while, and in the hybrid programs that I was associated with, they were cloning not only species like plants and animals, but they were also regenerating tissues of extraterrestrials and growing them and then cloning them. And then they started cloning humans a very long time ago. It's interesting now that in the news, after talking about this a few times, that now they're coming forward. China just has been doing it forever, but in their underground facilities, cloning people and cloning, of course, you heard about they cloned their first primate. And hey, they can clone a primate. This verifies what I'm talking about. Well, they can definitely clone a human. And they're also growing humans for organs. And, there's a big controversy behind this. But clones are everywhere. Human, extraterrestrial, they're wandering all over. Some people will refer to these as doppelgangers because they can grow a human to look like someone and mind program and implant them with circuitry and things like this. And they will really think they had this life and implant them into a business or into whatever organization.
This is crazy. A UFO true believer made a video game with input from allegedly real alien abductees, but he said that he was forced to shut it down after receiving threats from shadowy forces. What makes this more mysterious is that when being interviewed by the website PCGamer.com, he said that he couldn't answer too many questions. But what he did reveal is very interesting. The video game was called Universal Conquest, and the developer's name is listed as Reptilian Games. They said that the threats they received were credible and real, and they reported it to law enforcement, but they implied that law enforcement may be part of the problem. The developer said that the video game is no longer available for purchase, and they said that they don't have the money to fight something this large in court. They also said that they probably couldn't fight something this large in court regardless. So who was it that shut down the video game? Was it the Men in Black? The developer says that some of the information that was put into the video game wasn't supposed to be shared with the public. So they're implying that some of the information shared in the video game was of such earth-shattering significance that mysterious forces conspired to shut it down. Let me know in the comments what you guys think.
So